My people, what I do? We back with a live episode of All Black Men Need Therapy in Therapy Thursdays. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
And I'm Adrian, yo.
Had to get my man accustomed to it. Word up. We appreciate y'all for tapping in. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we live and we rolling. You know what I'm saying? Before we begin, quick commercial. This episode is brought to you by All Black Men Need Therapy merchandise sponsoring. You dig? I want y'all to visit the website www.abmnt.com. Purchase your gear today. While we're live right now, y'all, if you type in the code ABMNT Live 15, you get 15% off the entire store while we're live. So go ahead and get you something while we're live. Tap in and see what's happening. You dig?
Yo, Chief, what's the website again? I'm about to order me something right now.
ABMNT.com. ABMNT.com.
Go ahead and get your 15%, Adrian.
You did?
I love a good deal. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Check this out. Yo, we are gonna be filming on Tuesday. In the studio. We're in the studio Tuesday. Prentice flying over. Tuesday, January 9th. We filming in the studio, 8 p.m. in New Britain, Connecticut. Email us at live@abmnt.com. We're doing it with a live audience, so limited tickets only. So put your request in. Email us at live@abmnt.com and request your tickets. We got you. They're for the free, but it's first come, first serve. So it's only a limited amount of people we're going to have there. So make sure you tap in. live@abmnt.com.
That would be a first for us.
Yeah. Word. It's our very first live, interactive type thing. So pull up. Bell, you want to go ahead and give them your Therapy Thursday spiel?
Yeah. So yeah, live audience Tuesday. Come up, pull up, and I got to shout Chief out real quick because this was his idea. I'm actually looking forward to it. I wasn't at first. I'm gonna be honest, but I'm looking forward to it. I've seen the emails come in with people inquiring, people DMing me. You know what I'm saying? So pull up. How many are we accepting, Chief? Or do we not want to say yet? You muted, bro. You muted. You're muted. Your microphone is off. You are talking, but we can't hear you. We cannot hear you.
Can't hear nothing.
My bad. I said it's gonna be a low number, but we're trying to mix it up. So those of you still might have a chance. You dig what I'm saying? So tap in. We want a blended crowd and whatnot. We're gonna be doing it, often. So just this first one is a trial run. So we want to keep the numbers low. But tap in live@abmnt.com.
So you we're gonna do the check-ins after this, Chief.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna do it. All right, cool. So first of all, thank everyone. I appreciate everybody for joining. This is Therapy Thursday with All Black Men Need Therapy. 2/3 of All Black Men Need Therapy. We have our honorary guests, and kind of a co-host now on Therapy Thursday, Adrian White, who's a licensed clinical social worker. And for those of you who've been riding with us for the last three years, and we are coming up on 4 years, bro. And Father's Day will be 4 years since we started this podcast. So if you've been riding with us since the beginning, you know that we talk about real life things that we've experienced firsthand, and how we've navigated those waters. And we wanted to add a real life therapist on to help bring more validity to some of the things that we say, and to give you a real life outlet in real time, provided you have questions that you want to get addressed. So Therapy Thursdays, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Word. Like, share, and subscribe. I will say this. We have done a good job of connecting with one another and using this platform as a way for us to grow and be better. And I can tell you, in the past 3.5 years, I have grown immensely in how I look at things, and how, and just how I process things and how I communicate. And I'm still growing, but it's dope. And I'm thankful for you brothers, man. It's been a powerful journey, and I'm excited to see where we continue to go. So with that being said, Adrian, we appreciate you joining us. But since you pretty much you a member now, check in, homie. How you be? How you feeling? How you living?
Before I check in, what's the code for my 15% off?
It's on the screen. Tap in. Use the code ABMN Live 15. Get that 15% off. You know what I mean?
Appreciate your support, good brother.
Word.
Yeah, that take care of the shipping. All right. All right.
Word. All
But
right.
yeah,
Well,
man.
okay.
I can do my check-in, Adrian, if you still try to get your affairs in order.
I got
in
it.
the park.
My joint processing.
Okay.
All right. So checking in. Man, I'm good today. I'm good today. Saw a few clients. I got to fly to Arizona on Saturday to pick up my bonus daughters. So that's gonna be, we about to be back full house again. They was with their father. Yeah, they was with their dad for a few weeks. So it's gonna be good to have them back. You know what I'm saying? I miss my babies, but the peace that I've been having too with just me, wifey, and putting the babies down, and it's just us, and ain't a million people calling our names. But we capitalized on it. But it's time for the girls to come home. And yeah, outside of that, just building the practice, continuing to work on building, working on a relationship and working on myself. I finally got that gym membership. You know what I'm saying? Chief sent videos of him slimming down. So I'm like, all right, let me stop playing. Let me really get the physical up with the mental,
Word.
So
it's called cocaine. Don't be confused, Adrian. Oh man. You want me to go, Chief?
Yeah, Bellhead, you good? That's it for you, Adrian?
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead, check in.
I'm cool, man. I don't know if you guys feel like this, but it feels like it's been way longer than a week since we last recorded. Maybe because I just had a lot going on, but I mean, I guess. Oh, Happy New Year, everybody! Like we
shit.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, y'all. Word. Damn.
Yeah. So I'm good, man. I was talking to one of my really good friends today, like Sandbox. Like I've known him longer than I've known you, Chief. And he used to work for me at one point, and we was just catching up. And sometimes, a lot of times with me, more often than not with me, and Chief, I know you're like this too, and potentially you too, Adrian. We just go. You know what I'm saying? Like we go and we don't necessarily slow down and, as they say, smell the roses and all of that stuff. We just go. And I hadn't talked to him in a little bit. And it was, like I said, he used to work for me. So he's very familiar with our company. And I was talking about the shakeup. And, now I'm working for a different company now under the same, parent company. And he was just, thank you, man. So he was, he was just, he was just like in awe of everything, of like where I am right now. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't look at it like that. I didn't look at it like, his words in short were like, man, you are winning at a high level. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you are winning at a high level. And I didn't really think about it like that. I'm just like, yeah, man, I got this to do. I got that to do, whatever. But it was a good reminder that we should all slow down and be grateful, right? Be grateful and give ourselves some grace, because we may not be where we want to be, you know what I'm saying? But we're a lot further than where we were, and that was like a eye-opening moment for me today. But other than that, man, I'm good, man. First week on the job, and the new job, like I said, my boss is phenomenal, man. Like phenomenal. Team is great. Like I'm so well placed. Like it's crazy, and already got stuff going. Big client meetings coming up, a lot of travel coming up. But yeah, man, I'm good, man. My parents came up this weekend. My son, we decorated his room, so there's not like just a bunch of shit thrown in the room that he sleeps in. Now it's like his room, you know what I'm saying? He got the dinosaur theme, and my mom picked everything out. I bought everything, and then we came back and organized everything. So I'm good, man. I'm good. That's my check-in.
That's what's up. I'll go and check in. First of all, I'm good. Kids are happy and healthy. I had a rough New Year, yo. Like the maybe like the last 3 days of it, maybe like the last 2 days of the year, and the first 2 days of this year. Like it was a rough week, man. So my oldest got into a car accident, and got 7 staples in his head, 7 stitches in both lips. You know what I'm saying? Thankful to be alive. He's good and whatnot. But with that just came a lot of like, you know, I don't know if everybody knows he's adopted. So he just comes from all the things kids aren't supposed to come from. And he was raised primarily by a woman. So his mentality is not really, he hasn't quite stepped into manhood just yet. So he's been coddled. So he kind of is still looking for that. And I'm kind of trying to push him over the edge. But it's been an interesting dynamic to where, you know, like he bounces in and out of like when he wants to be a man and when he wants to be a baby. Like sometimes like in the midst of this, like you could hear the yearn for like that protection and that like parental guidance and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But then once you start throwing that accountability at him, you get defensive, and now all of a sudden you want to be a man. But I had your boy had a panic attack, yo. And I pretty much thrive on being like, you know, super strong cat and over it. And like none of that, I don't really do anxiety per se. Like I've had that, I've felt it like twice in my life that I can recall. But like going into the emergency room to see him reminded me of when at the time going to identify my brother's body. So I walk in there and I start to, so he's at 2 different hospitals. So the first one, I walk in and I start to like get that little knot, like, you know, in my throat, like I'm about to throw up. And then it was brief. He was asleep, so I didn't stay long. I left. But then when we transferred him to a different hospital, you know, the room was way down the hall around the corner. So as I'm walking down the hall, I'm starting to feel it. I'm clamming up. My hands getting clammy. My legs like getting weak. And when I turned the corner to go to the hall where his room was at, I started hearing the hospital beeps. You know what I'm saying? Like the beeping and whatnot. And your boy, yo, I couldn't control it. My eyes started to water. My legs started shaking. Your boy, I like tried to take 2 more steps. I collapsed. Yo, Adrian, your boy just fell to the floor. Like I couldn't control it. My legs gave out on me. I started crying. And like once I turned that corner, it was like some movie shit, fam. Like I turned the corner and I was in the hallway of the hospital my brother was in. Like that's what was in my mind. And I like, your boy started to like panic. Like I froze up. And the doctor looking like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Just give me a minute. So I got up and I tried to take a deep breath, and I was like, took 2 more steps, and then I like started shaking a little bit, and I was like, nah, I can't do this, bro. And I turned around and I went back outside and just got some fresh air. And as soon as I hit the air, it was kind of like it was a gloomy day. But when I got outside, the fucking sun came out. Like it was still gloomy, but in my head, the sun came out. You know what I'm saying? Like it was weird, bro. And so I think like that PTSD component of it is like for real when it comes to that situation. Like hospitals or emergency rooms, I don't fare well in at all. Like it was bad. So I'll explain the first time, another time we talked, Adrian, but my first time experiencing like what I thought was anxiety or a panic attack was a similar thing in the hospital. My daughter had gotten sick, but it was I'm here now. My daughter had gotten sick, and something in my mind was like, she ain't gonna make it. She had a high fever, but that was it. Like something in my head was like, she ain't gonna make it. So I started panicking. I'm moving around. I'm shaking. And the room had like a lower ceiling. So I stood under the air vent, and I'm like trying to breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth, really control myself. And I'm like, nigga, chill out. This is me in my head. I'm like, chill out. You got this. So I finally like get my body still, and I'm standing still, and I'm under the end of the vent trying to breathe in the air. And fam, my toes were like trying to like dig out of the bottom of my shoes. And I'm like, yeah, this is some crazy shit. I couldn't control it. I'm like, my toes were trying to dig me out of my shoes. I'm like, yo, this gotta be what panic attack anxiety feels like. So I went outside. It was nighttime at that time, but I went outside, got some fresh air, and I was good. But I couldn't go back into like the room my daughter was in. I had to like wait in the lobby. It was wild. But that, you know, so that experience kind of walked up on me again, and it was completely unexpected because I wasn't thinking about it when I walked in. I'm like, let me go check him out, make sure he's good. But that shit like overcame me, and it was, you know, so I don't know if that's something like therapy can help or whatever, but
that was gonna be my question. When was the last time you saw your therapist?
Probably like right before Thanksgiving.
Oh, see, I didn't know you were still like
Actively going.
Yeah, actively.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
it's been like maybe like every other week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Has it helped?
Yeah, for sure. Like you see how like lately we've been talking about me and my communication stuff. It happened here, but I bounced that off of her and whatnot, and we, you know, working on some things, and it's kind of dope, yo. Like I'm really like, I feel like I'm moving in a real good direction as far as that is concerned. But it was eye-opening for me to assess my communication skills and go, damn, bro, you ain't as sharp as you thought you was.
Communication skills way better than yours, Nick.
Yeah, people's skills way better than yours, nigga. But you also in the conversation we had the other day. So my people, before we get in, the check-in is done, but before we get into it, like the podcast, me, Bell, and Prentice had a pretty deep conversation the other day, and we'll get to that later on. I did record it, Bell, so if we want to review it and maybe just put it out there in the air, people can know what's going on. Yeah, so later on, maybe when we, you know what I'm saying, we can dial back on it.
Ain't you supposed to tell somebody when they being recorded?
No, it's all good. It's all good. I ain't put it out there. I ain't watch it yet or whatever, but after the conversation, Bella and I got to talking, and the conversation, like, sometimes we are what we say we ain't. That part was like was a big deal for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I'm not typically an anxious guy, and then you just had a panic attack or an anxiety attack. Like, you might be, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't feel it in me. So it was something I'm looking at now, just kind of like, I'm not this, I'm not that. And nigga, are you really? You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it a little bit closer now. So it's kind of
it's crazy how saying something out loud can convince us that we're okay or that we're not. You know what I'm saying? And like what Chief is talking about is I have an executive coach, and I had a situation. I talked about on the podcast when I got triggered by something, and when I finally got on the phone with him, I'm like, Toby, I'm not an emotional dude and nothing like that. So this, and I'm not, and I don't be getting too overly sensitive about things. And this is all through the course of the conversation. At the end, he's like, Bo, he's like, you are all those things, and that's okay. He's like, you stop saying you're not. He's like, you are. He's like, we wouldn't be having this conversation if you weren't. He's like, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you can be who you are in these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to reject it. He's like, because the more you reject it, the more it doesn't allow you to heal. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn. And during that conversation that Chief and I had, I literally saw it through my executive coach's lens, because Chief and I are very similar, like very similar. So when he was saying those things, I'm not this, I'm not that. It's crazy, Adrian, because on that call, if he ever releases it, he would say it and then immediately follow and give an example of when he was just recently. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not an anxious dude. Just had a panic attack. You know what I'm saying? I don't get stressed, but this is all the stress I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? It was like, so when I'm listening, I'm like, I got to call him. So I called him the next day, and I was like, yeah, man, I hear you. When I hear you, I hear me. So maybe this can help you. So I'm glad to help. I didn't know how it landed, Chief. Like, we didn't really talk about it afterwards. So I'm glad.
Yeah. So it was just something to process. Again, like I like outside of like when is the last time you see me stressed? Like, I'd just be like, yeah, I got some shit on. I got some shit I got to do. And don't really like.
I also think that's part of the problem, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's part of the problem. I think you're potentially so adverse to being stressed that you mask it. You know what I'm saying? That's why back in the day I was saying that's when you would snap. You know what I'm saying? Because you weren't processing all this shit, and I gotta help you take the person out the bushes that you just put in there. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like how you try to paint me as this.
Am I painting, or am I just looking at the finished product? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But you've come a long way. But I think again, we got Adrian on, but I think that person that you were, you don't want to go back there. And I think anytime you feel something come on that could get you to that place, you pivot. You know what I'm saying? You pivot so hard to remove yourself from it, but it doesn't address the real issue. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I've been saying with you, even in our conversation that you recorded the other day. Like,
I didn't. So I'm talking about the conversation with me, you, and Prentice. I didn't record. I didn't record. Oh, okay. I didn't record you and I phone conversation.
Yeah, the three of us. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But even in that, like, there was a lot of avoidance. You know what I'm saying? And we spoke about it, right? Like, afterwards, but there was still a lot of avoidance, and I can see it. Like, I've known you the majority of your life. I've known you longer than your father's known you. You know what I'm saying? So
yo, my sister, his birthday was the other day. My sister posted some pictures that I saved them so I can send them to y'all cats so we can. Yo, and I'm not if I'm keeping it a buck, Bell. I talk to my man at work a lot. My man, Mr. King. Shout out to my man Desmond King. Yo, just a real solid brother, man. Yeah. Real solid cat, man. You know what I'm saying? And he heavy on the scripture, and he be hitting me with it, at work sometime. But we had that conversation about how I told him how like I pitched going to see my dad to y'all. And y'all was like, well, you doing it for you? We doing it for the podcast. I'm doing it for the podcast. And he's like, nah, I'm surprised to hear you say that, bro. And then he kind of like, I'm not going to lie. He kind of like convinced me that it's worth having that conversation.
Absolutely. So Adrian, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Or are you telling us you're doing it for the podcast to mask those feelings that you have and you're really doing it for yourself, but aloud, you can stomach, oh no, I'm doing it for the podcast. Like, that's easier to stomach.
No, because at the time it was genuinely like, yo, this would be like something monumental for the masses to see, like a man trying to reconcile with his father after 40 years of absence.
But I'm about to hit you with how my executive coach, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about everybody. We're talking about you. You know what I'm saying? Like you, like, for instance, if it can be monumental for all these listeners, but detrimental to you, do we do it? You know what I'm saying?
No, but it's something that I think it would need to happen just to kind of to what's the phrase? Bury the hatchet. You know what I'm saying? Like closure, but it's more for closure, like wrapped in forgiveness, if you will.
So you forgive
or not. You know what I'm saying? But it's again, because he's just like, yo, you don't know his story. You don't know his story with his father. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, well, that's a very valid point. You know what I'm saying? But in retrospect, it's kind of like I don't, and it might be good to know, and it might help explain some things. Still might not give a fuck, but
I think it sounds like it's easier for you to say, okay, I'll do it for the podcast because of the vulnerability that comes with you having to acknowledge that you need to do it for yourself. So I definitely believe like your initial thought was, okay, the podcast, it would be cool, but that's a lot of vulnerability to go face somebody when you've had all of this time. And I don't know what it was like, but it seems like he wasn't there or around. There's a part of you and a lot of that stuff, you probably suppressed a lot of that stuff, right? Because it's almost like, and it goes back to, we touched on this before, a lot of us turn into fathers and we don't even know how to be sons. And so then what does that conversation even like look like, right? Do you even have the discussion of your feelings from not having him there, from the things that he missed and all of that? Or do you just gloss over that and never even touch on those things?
I don't know, because I don't know where the conversation would lead, but what I can say, if out of anybody on the podcast and we've spoken to, I'm probably the one who's most comfortable being vulnerable. Like I don't have a problem crying and being judged about it or whatever. But I have no problem being like, you know what? I realize that I'm doing this for me now. You dig what I'm saying? But I don't think I'm sold on it. But like my man, Mr. King's been talking to me, and it's been really like sitting on me like, damn, like, maybe you should do this, bro. So
I challenge you to and of course handle it however you're gonna handle it. But I challenge you to take time to sit and think about, you at going through not having him. And writing those feelings and processing all of that, and possibly have that conversation with him or write it in a letter first. But I definitely think a lot of that stuff is still possibly suppressed. And I challenge you also too, because you like me, Chief, like my wife was saying, hey, you seem like you're so open and you don't mind sharing what you went through and this and that. And I'm like, well, that's easy for me, right? So some people would consider it me being more vulnerable just because I talk more than other people, but really it's not, because there's certain things that's back here that nobody has touched. You know what I'm saying? It's the things that I wasn't even aware of that just happen here and there will pop up. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even know that was such a, touchy spot. So I will agree, Chief, you are emotionally intelligent. You have no problem with being vulnerable. But I think too, there are some things back there that you may not even fully comprehend how big they are actually for you.
No, and I think I'm not opposed to that, because again, with these conversations we've been having on the podcast, like I didn't realize there were even like daddy issues in my head. I'm like, out of sight, out of mind. Like it didn't really affect me, but as we started recording, like every episode was like, yeah, well, my dad, and then comments would go, oh, well, my dad, oh, well, my dad, and it's like, bro, you mentioned your dad 15 out of the last 16 episodes. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, damn. So now we have this daddy issues conversation, and Belle and Prentice are going back and forth, and I'm sitting there just like getting angry, like listening to the conversation, getting fired up, like they telling childhood stories. I'm like, I ain't got shit to say. I don't have none of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have nothing.
Yeah, it's something
good, bad, or indifferent. Like I don't have none of them. So and I realized at that point, I'm like, yo, you probably some shit you need to iron out.
There's definitely something there, man, and whatever, right? Like. However, whatever direction you want to go, obviously, we got your back. But I think I'll end on this and we can jump in. But I think there's something to be said about how vulnerable you are. I think you are vulnerable, but my opinion is it's like, for instance, like when I got into my company, it was this whole like, tell us your story. And I'm like, man, I'm not telling you motherfuckers nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my whole thing. But what I did is I created a story that was true, but it wasn't all the whole story. It was a piece of the story to say that I was vulnerable enough to tell my story. But it was stuff that I just wasn't willing to reveal. So I say that to say, Chief, that you're very vulnerable in a lot of aspects. But I personally believe the deepest challenges you have is a level of vulnerability that you're not willing to get to yet. And you can layer that by saying, well, I'm vulnerable, which is true, but you're vulnerable for, I'm going to use this term, but I don't necessarily mean it literally, but like you're vulnerable for the masses, but you're not vulnerable for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Like you're like, hey, look, I'm vulnerable. So you can't say I'm not vulnerable, but it's like where it really counts, when you really got to do some deep, like where it's the introspective work could be heartbreaking. That's a place that you haven't gone yet. You know what I'm saying?
I gotta think about that deeper, but yeah, I probably
potentially.
I think more so as it pertains to this particular situation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because like I've gone through Peanut situation on stage in front of thousands of people in tears. So you know what I'm saying? Like it ain't often you see a 6'2", 250-pound black man on stage in tears.
That's it right there, though. That's a public thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that is understood that you're going to be vulnerable about. Emotional about. So it's understood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Peanut was murdered. Like that. Whoever you are, you understand that is fucking traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the courage to speak about it in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? But that's known.
Right.
This other stuff isn't known. That's all I'm saying.
No doubt. So would you guys? So it's. I'm going to try to make this transition real quick.
I think we're still on the same page though.
Yeah. So today's topic, 33 minutes into the episode. Today's
you
topic
having some technical difficulties, so that's probably like 23 minutes.
Is men and broken hearts, right? Do you guys think? First of all, when I say the phrase broken heart, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And just not applicable to race situation. Just when I say broken heart, what comes to mind?
My initial thought is a female.
Yeah.
Okay.
Female who broke up with me or left me.
Okay. So when I say if I say men, as it pertains to men healing from a broken heart, do those same things come to mind?
It's crazy because my first thought is like, do we even know our heart was broken?
And I ask that because we talk about how we handle and process broken hearts, right? Is it fair to say that I'm heartbroken for not having my father in my life?
100%.
Absolutely. And Chief, that's a great point, because we all go to the woman thing because that was the first place where we felt it, but it definitely more than likely starts with our parents. Some form of abandonment, or the first people who are supposed to love us, them not being there. That was the true first like heartbreak
Right,
At the
because what they
majority of
say, a daddy, a daughter's first love, right? You know what I'm saying? So when it goes down like that, but again, that's something that when we say broken heart, the first thing we go is, oh, what woman did it to him? What, you know what I'm saying? But we don't look at it. So if I go, I've definitely had my heart broken by a woman. Definitely had my heart broken by my father. Definitely had my heart broken by losing my brother. So that's 3 different realms of heartbreak that have, you know,
So one could say you're a broken man.
one could say that. One could say that.
Because when you said that about your dad, I'm like, damn, I would like Adrian, that doesn't cross my mind. Like in my mind, like a man, how's a man gonna break my heart? But yeah, if my father wasn't around, absolutely would break my heart. Now, again, back to this machismo that we as men carry, this testosterone, it's like, when or are we willing to even admit that? So for instance, right? My dad's not in my life, and I'm going into all these relationships. There's a piece of me that's missing that I have not acknowledged yet. You know what I'm saying? So now this woman that I'm dealing with is now unfortunately getting the repercussions of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think about that. Like when again heartbroken, I thought I went to 2 people in my life. Like, you know what I'm saying, that broke my heart, and both were females. So it's like it's a very interesting perspective for you.
Nah, and y'all spot on. I really didn't start. I was talking to one of my clients when I got the son thing, and it was something that my therapist, he's an apostle too, but he was talking to me about sonship. Then it just started to click, right? And so this is me on my chief vulnerability, where I'll be vulnerable with everybody, right?
We're in
It didn't really
134
start to,
countries, Adrian, just so you know.
huh?
I said we're in
143.
143 countries, just so you know. So let's
Oh,
go be
that's
real.
cool. That's cool. But with my father, I didn't realize it until I had a son. Everything that I really missed from my father,
And your
like
father
not
wasn't
being there.
around? Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't. And I gave him a pass because my father, I was born in North Carolina, but when my mom had me, we moved to New York. So it's like, he wasn't around. Like my dad still worked on a farm. You know what I'm saying? So I gave him the doom, but it's like, no, you still wasn't there. And when I really sat, I noticed how my patience with my mom was like this. Like my mom would get on my nerves, drop her the hat, this, that, short temper with my mom. I gave my dad all the grace in the world. And
That's
that
how
was
it
a
works,
crazy imbalance that, I had to address. So I want to have that conversation with my dad. I haven't mustered up the boom, boom, boom to just, dad, you wasn't around. You made promises you didn't keep. Like, this is everything I missed. I know, whatever the reason, but this is something I need to have this conversation with you. And I feel like until I do that, there's still pieces of me that's missing that is affecting me as a father and as a husband as well too. So I got to attack that father thing too, Chief.
No doubt, man. I think, I think it's different. Obviously, it's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? But I never, like, outside of this conversation, like, I'd never processed it. Like, damn, your father broke your heart, B. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like, these conversations are so necessary, because what other platform would you have them? You know what I'm saying? Like how do you how do you set the stage? Hey, my man, come by. I want to holler at you about something real quick. You know what I'm saying? It's like this shit ain't natural, So
yeah. So Adrian, so I did. So after my brother passed away, my brother was murdered. I don't like to say that. After my brother was murdered, my mom became very adamant about filling that void for me. So I have 2 siblings on my father's side, a sister and a brother. So my mother was really trying to fill that void and have me connected with them. So at 31, I met my father for the first time. I always said if I could walk by him every day and not see him, but the moment I saw him, it was literally like looking into my own eyes. Shit was like scary, right? So, honor thy mother, thy father. I respected him. Said, let me make you dinner, whatever. Came over, I made him some dinner. We talked, and in so many words, he said the reason why he wasn't around is because he told my mother not to have me. So, right.
So what's crazy, Chief? Up until right now, I thought he explicitly said that to you.
No, he did.
Oh, you said so many words, so I thought you were paraphrasing.
No. So he those words came out of his mouth.
Okay.
And but I mean, there's obviously some fluff around is what I'm saying, but that's the part, you know what I'm saying, that stuck with me. Nevertheless, what's crazy, Bell, is like he was here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, and we had a very extensive conversation, and that's literally all I remember.
It's so crazy. That's how I know we connected, because that's what I was going to say. I'm like, what else happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, because and I don't know what happened, and you don't either at this point, but it's like he could have been like, I guess, and I'm not giving him the out. I'm just saying he potentially could have had remorseful undertones and or not at all. Okay.
I would have, because I'm emotionally intelligent enough to be like, okay, I can kind of see where he kind of might regret.
But
there was no like regret or remorse in the tone in the conversation.
I don't doubt you at all. I don't doubt that he had. I believe it happened exactly how you said it happened. But I'm just curious. I'm curious to know what his take on that conversation was. Like, you know how you received it, but how was it intended? Not that matters, right?
No, right. I again, so I think now being a little more healed, I can have the conversation and be able to digest it more. I think once I heard that, everything was like, it didn't even matter.
Exactly. That's where I was about to go, because I'm like, yo, what did he say after that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know it didn't matter. I mean, I get it, man. So
the next question on our treatment, Adrian, and it talks about like, why is the avoidance of dealing with our feelings and the work of healing, like, why is that such a huge part of the agenda for men? Like, think about it. I didn't realize I was harboring daddy issues. My father told me what he told me. We started a podcast 7-8 years later. I'm still not cognizant that I have daddy issues. So I spent the majority of my life avoiding the feeling of heartbreak. So when it happens to us, dad, sibling, breakup, whatever, dad, death, breakup, like, we still have a tendency to hide behind the machismo and not process through those emotions. You know, like we mentioned, you know, what comes up with healing, the girlfriend, the breakup with the girl. Okay, cool. But what happens? We find another bad shorty, don't process the hurt, end up either hurting them or getting ourselves hurt, because we're getting ourselves hurt because we ain't ready to step on. But you know what I'm saying? So why is it such a huge thing for men to avoid dealing with the hurt?
Yeah, I think, you know, the main reason, and probably answer you'll get from most people, is because we're not, you know, taught to be hurt, right? Like, that's weakness. You can't be weak, especially when you don't. Another thing of coming in without a father, there's nobody there to be strong, so it has to be you from an early age. You have to start taking, you know, that on. So it's frowned upon everywhere. Music, sports, nobody cries, right? So off gate, we're coming out without having somebody to protect us. And then two, it just sucks being hurt, right? Who want to sit around and be sad all day? That's why as soon as a shorty leave, you think, I'm about to sit here and trip. Nah, let me hit something up. Let me go get something else that's going to make me feel good for the moment. And then we not even going to think about it. We're going to lock that joint, because we can compartmentalize. Great. Like, that's what we do. We compartmentalize, you know what I'm saying? We organize, we think linear. Okay, let me put this over here. I got you. You validated me. Cool. I'm good to go. And what happens is eventually that stuff just piles up to one day it just start coming out in other areas. And it's just like, man, hold on. Something else gotta be going on, right? Like, and then the last piece is, I don't think we're taught to sit with ourselves. Like, we're taught about having relationships with everybody else. Nobody teaches us how to have a relationship with yourself, how to process what you're going through, how to feel, and it's okay to feel, and what does it look like when you are sad, and how being sad is okay when you're alone, and like all of those different things. So I'll say it's a combination of all of that.
Yeah, but we don't even identify with the sadness, because what it becomes is oh, this bitch thinks she can do this to me. I'm about to knock shorty off and get me, get my validation back. And then we sitting with the anger afterwards of having a heartbreak. It's never recognized as sadness. It's not recognized as hurt. All that we're not good at identifying the emotion. So we just turn it into anger, whatever it is. When it don't go in our favor, it turns into anger. And we can't sit back. We ain't gonna say I'm heartbroken. Nah, she pissed me off. Shorty gonna do what she do or whatever. You know what I'm saying? How she gonna leave me and I wasn't even cheating?
Right. But that's because we were never shown to. But shout out to y'all, right? Because people are gonna tune into this. They're gonna see the type of conversation that y'all having, and now they have to explore it, right? Because it's there. The seeds are being planted by the things that y'all are doing. We can't explore something we weren't exposed to or never knew. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't never heard nobody tell y'all to sit in the sadness and work your way through that and learn how to be okay with it. You ain't never heard that till we became adults after we done figured it out, sat with ourselves, did our reading, our education, and wanted to do better ourselves.
Hey, yo, you don't got to go any further than how you parent your children compared to how you were parented.
Oh my God. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
It is night and day.
But that's it, right? Like somebody put in the chat, I had to open it and I closed it, but they were saying that we're taught to man up. And as men, that's what we're little boys, right? We're little boys, we're taught to man up, which is just crazy. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. My son had a bad drop off. We doing awesome drop offs, right? So he had a bad drop off the other day. Lorraine took him, and like I'm like, hey buddy, like how'd it go? Whatever. He was basically like, okay, Daddy, I'll tell you when we get home. So when we got home, he was like, because he thought by him telling me I was gonna let him watch TV, but I explained to him like, no, like you lose the TV privilege because of your bad drop off. I guess he was wilding, but anyway. He's like, I'm like, well, just tell me what was going on. Like, what were you feeling? Like, this is my comment. Like, what were you feeling? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was happening that caused you to act out like that? And then he's like, well, it was he was going. He's like, Daddy, I was just overwhelmed. He's 3, like he's 3. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like what? You know what I mean? But again, it's like, yo, my dad used to put the belt to my nose and be like, smell it, like before he beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like the level of trauma that we used to go through is crazy compared to how we parent our kids. So what I'm saying is, Chief, our generation, at least, right? Our generation, we weren't taught those things. We weren't taught those coping mechanisms. We were taught to forge through. A lot of us were raised by single women. You know what I'm saying? So, and as we get older, it's like we look at our parents and we're like, oh, I don't want to burden them with this. Like, we barely can pay the rent. You know what I'm saying? Why am I going to worry about this? So we just suppress it. And then we keep going and we never deal with it. And then as we get older, now you in the street and maybe not necessarily doing anything illegal, but you in the street. You know what I'm saying? So you got to protect yourself at all times. And you being vulnerable is an opportunity for you to be taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? By your peers. So no, I'm not about to show you that. Nah, she ain't break my heart. Nah, she might have did that, but I was doing this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, bro, you hurting. You hurting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but we don't understand that. So again, man, it's a product of coming up in the 80s, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Hey, hold on. For those of you on IG, I think you got to go to our All Black Men Need Therapy. But I think my issue is we're trying to stream on my page and All Black Men Need Therapy page, and they're connected, so it's not letting me do both of them. I can only do one. So we went to the All Black Men Need Therapy page. If you're still on there, although and we can't see your Instagram comments because it's something wrong with the whatchamacallit, you know what I'm saying? But something wrong with the live stream. So if you want to comment and for us to see it, you got to go to the YouTube. By the way, those of you who watch right now in the middle of the episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got to get to over 1,000 subscribers before we can start, benefiting the podcast in that fashion. You dig what I'm saying? So tap in with us at YouTube, become a member, subscribe, and help us out that way.
I didn't, since I got an Instagram page now, I jumped on to see the live. So I see it now.
Oh yeah, so you know, because you're doing. Oh, never mind. Yeah. So is that the thing for us though, fellas? The quick fix is that
100%.
what we believe is the heal?
100%. Because it allows us not to have to deal with the present. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, bro, and this is just my thought. All right, Adrian, please chime in. But my thought that there's fear of the unknown. There's fear of unpacking some of that shit that lays dormant. There's fear. So we do things to dance around it, to avoid it. You know what I'm saying? Things that we can stomach, that we're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Things that we can get reassurance with. Like, and this may not be a great example, Chief, but even with you speaking about Peanut on a stage, you're going to get an overwhelming response of comfort from that audience. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're going to make you feel empowered about your level of vulnerability. Like, this is a safe landing. It's a safe landing. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you can't embrace somebody after pouring their heart out like that, you don't have a soul. So that's understood. But, and again, not using you as an example, but you don't necessarily know where these emotions are going to take you with this dad stuff. Again, so it was so deeply buried that you didn't know you had the challenge until we brought it up, because we got tired of hearing about it, basically.
Right. So here's the thing, though. Like, I think not knowing where those emotions will take me isn't necessarily a bad thing, because one, I'm more capable of identifying what those emotions are and processing in real time through those emotions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you haven't,
because I haven't had the conversation. So when that conversation happens, I can now, you know what I mean?
But you could have had the conversation. That's what I'm saying. It ain't like you don't know how to get in contact with this dude.
I did have the conversation, and I was triggered by one particular comment, and then I don't know. Like, I honestly, God, though, I remember him sitting on the couch and me looking at him and him saying that, and then like I don't even remember him. I remember walking him out. I remember handing him his plate of food, and I remember him like walking him out of the house. And that's what I remember from that conversation.
Right. So at that particular time during that conversation, you weren't able to do all the things that you said you can do right now. And you may not have been equipped. Cool.
Then, that's what I'm saying. Then I wasn't able to, like.
But now you are. And what I'm saying is you haven't. And this isn't me coming at you. I'm just saying now you are, and you haven't had the conversation. That's avoidance. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I just, like, literally, like, maybe Tuesday this week, I had the conversation with my man, Mr. King, and it just became more real. Like, bro, like, why not? Like, you're an adult. You can process these emotions. Like, you can deal with it.
I think you needed an objective point of view. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need an objective point, because my shit's biased, right? Like you my man. Like, ever since then, it's been fuck Hector, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not gonna push you over.
Did you see the movie American Fiction? You gotta watch it. That was a great movie.
Wait, is it in the theaters or is it on
streaming? Yeah, it's a theater. But I got the Fire Stick, so we good. Nevertheless, but it's a line. Fuck out of here, Philip. Like, that's my new joint. I'm just gonna be, you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if your name is Philip or not. That's gonna be my joint. But
real quick, I want to shout out Bree. Bree got me this very simple Christmas gift with these and you guys probably can't see, but these enlarged ice cubes. So kept my drink cold this whole time and didn't melt. It's like the Mia would know, it's the thick ice cubes that we make old fashions with. So shout out to Bree.
No doubt. Shout out to Suge. That's Belle's daughter, by the way, in case y'all was wondering. So we talked about, again, we were talking about a broken heart via men, and we instantly made it applicable to the woman. And I think that's what the majority of people are interested in talking about and hearing about. So when it comes to that particular type of broken heart, Belle, when it comes to you, help us understand your process of healing or dealing with the broken heart from when
burning house.
You got your silly ass locked in the icebox.
with nowhere to go.
Movie.
Look, man,
Oh,
we'll
man.
save it.
So,
That's the house party reference. Shout out to Full Force. No, man, honestly, like I've gotten my heart broke one time, more than one time, but one stands out more than the other, and it's different because I've never. It's gonna sound foul, but I've never gotten my heart broken when I wasn't in the wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like my ex girlfriend, we were together for a while, but I had did a lot of wild shit, and by the time I was ready to be like committed and focused and yada yada yada, um, she she'll never admit it, but she was on her bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And I got wind and how I dealt with it. Like, I mean, I got in the car and drove 6 hours and showed up unannounced. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wait. Did you get in the car?
we
Or did
got
you
in the
make
car.
us get in the car?
Yeah, we
Did you
got in
make
the
us
car.
get in the car?
Yeah, we got in the
Hey,
car.
hey, hold on. Hey, real quick. I queued this up for this moment. I had it waiting to go. What'd you do again, Bell?
I got in the car and drove 6 hours.
Did I put it in here?
I get you bullshitting.
I don't think I put it in here. Oh, I did. You got in the car those 6 hours. Hey, y'all, this for Bell.
That crazy bitch out there again.
Yeah, man. Pulled up. You know what I'm saying? I pulled up unannounced, and I needed some answers. You know what I'm saying? And I just went. So how I help? That's physically how I handled it. Right? I went to her to address it, and then I kind of retreated for a little bit, and then again reflection. Right? Like one thing about me is I've always been extremely self aware. Like if I'm doing some bullshit, I know I'm doing some bullshit. It ain't like I'm oblivious. So I just reflected. I reflected on the bullshit I was doing. And then like I had said on that clip you had posted, I'm like, I owe her that. You know what I'm saying? Like if she was out here, I owe her that. Like I was when I said I was wilding, I was wilding. So at that point,
This was before outside was even a thing. It was
man,
out.
listen here. Yeah, I was outdoors, man. So parking lot pimping was a thing, and
Parking lot pimping.
I was good at it. But anyway, what I did was I reflected, and again, this is a long relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like she was the one I thought I didn't think I was gonna get married at all, but she was, if I were to get married, she was the one I thought I would be marrying. So there was a lot of time invested in, and what I did is I reflected and I apologized for what I did, regardless of what she did or allegedly did. And and tried to work my way back. And here's probably TMI, but I'm gonna tell y'all because I feel like y'all been rocking with us for a long time. It's a true story. And Lorraine don't even know this, so she about to find out this shit for the first time. So this is like, like
Don't set yourself up for a fight, Nick.
no, I know,
It's too
no, I'm
late now
not.
because she's gonna ask you, so you might as well go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm not. But this is this long time ago. But anyway, my daughter was something was going on, and my ex called me, and because she was speaking to my daughter because something was going on, and at that time my daughter was closer to her than she was my now wife, but my then girlfriend. And it was very early on, and she was like, she called me. She's like, yeah, I talked to Bree, this, that, and the third, yada yada yada, and let me back up. So during that process of me self-reflecting and basically telling her like, look, listen, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, like you can count on me. And then when like my last straw when I was trying to get her back, it's 2010, my last straw, I had said to her, because again, I know myself, I'm self-aware, I know exactly how I'm gonna move. I said what sucks is you're going to, all the stuff that you went through because of me will be in vain because the next person is going to benefit from all these things, right? Like, and through our relationship, we had a plan on like what our life was going to look like, all these things, yada yada yada. She calls me, something was going on with my daughter. She calls me, talks to me, telling me about the conversation, and she's like, "Oh, I heard you guys found a house." I'm like, and now we hadn't bought it yet, but we found it. We put an offer on. I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, it's this, is that. I'm describing the house to her, and immediately after I finished the description, I'm like, holy shit. I said, this is the house I said we would have. And it was a moment where it was like, I wasn't saying it to be an asshole. I was saying it because it was like really like a realization. Like it was, again, we were planning a life together when we were together. And I'm like, we're gonna have, 3,000 square foot house, 3-car garage, in-ground swimming pool. And I'm saying all these things to her, and it hit me. And she's like, I'm like, holy shit, that's the house I said we were. I said, do you realize? I said, it was a question. I said, do you realize what I just described as the house that I said we would have? And she got choked up. You could hear it in her voice. She's like, yep. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But again, to answer the question in a very simple way, I take action in heartbreak. So I still have my goals. I still have my stuff that I want to get accomplished. And I told her that somebody's going to benefit from all these things, and everything that you would have went through would be in vain. And that's what ended up happening. Now, her life is right. She's moved on as she should have. And, she's doing great. So it's not like she needed me to do great. Like, and I didn't need her to do great. But I was hurt. So then I started my current relationship where like shortly thereafter, because I was just like, I now see that I can be with somebody and create a future. So let me find the right person to do that. And it just so happened to work out that way. So that was my response. Like I took action.
Your response was you take action. And the action was chasing your goals, chasing your dreams. But did you?
The action was reflection. The first action was reflection, and like what hand I played in the heartbreak.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was my again. It was pretty obvious for me that I was the culprit. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like if I was doing all the things I was supposed to be doing and she broke my heart. That I've never experienced that. Like I was never not at fault in some capacity. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
was there any compartmentalization in that process? Because you talked about, taking action, but in the act of taking action, like was there some avoidance in this heartbreak, or did you, after the processing and the self-reflection, you're like, I know what I did, I'm ready to move forward?
So that's exactly what it was. It was like, I know where I messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, I didn't put it on her. Like, yeah, she might have broke my heart, but it wasn't her fault. Like, she was a victim of circumstance. You know what I'm saying? Like I was wilding, and so I decided I want to be good now. And she's just like, basically like, enough is enough. And she did whatever she did or allegedly did. So it's like, nah, I had already got to the point where I knew what I needed to do. And now I was just trying to find somebody to do that with.
No doubt. So everyone who was watching prior to, he's back right now. So that's good. Brother man's back. Everything okay, Adrian?
Yeah, man. My son fell out his bed, and so was bleeding. So, but he back sleeping, man. He a G. He a G. I cleaned him off, threw him on his shoulder. He fell asleep, laid him down. He was good. So,
yo, it's so crazy because that's like my wife's biggest fear for my son. Like, yo, if you walk in his room, it's like 16 pillows at the bottom of his bed.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I'm like, first of all, my man is 62 pounds. Like, he's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I told him, like, look, all he gotta do is fall once and he won't fall again. So,
yo, speaking of falling, man, You're talking about your son falling, Adrian. I go to pick up my nephew one day, and I pick him up all the time. At the time, I ain't picked him up since. Yo, we going to my cousin's house. She got like, it's like I got like 5 kids with me. I got my kids, my cousin's kids, what I'm saying, my nephew, whatever, right? So we go into my other cousin's house so the kids can all play and hang out. They excited to go play with their cousins. He is running out of the car. She got 2 brick steps and 2 wooden steps, and then you just walk into the house. He trips before the first brick step fall, splits his forehead wide open. I gotta call my man and be like, yo, I'm the baby. Yeah, like, do you know how heart wrenching?
So he had 2 eyes when he got here, right?
He had 2 eyes when I picked him up, right?
So what happened here? What happened
here? Yo, split his joint to the white meat, right? Dead center of his forehead. The scar is like really, really gone now. You can't really see it. But yo, that to have to make that phone call and say, yo, your shorty got hurt on my watch is the worst, fam. The absolute worst. So we tapped into Mr. White. We tapped into, when it comes to you in particular, help us understand your process of healing from a broken heart.
Oh, well, like I said, I think I'm still figuring out the stuff with my dad. I think it's identifying it and then being willing to just see the process through. You know what I'm saying? But from women, I will say, like with my ex-wife, when that ended, it was me just learning to be with myself and forgiving myself, right? Initially, I went to the dating, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I left the crib, I'm renting the room, I'm paying the bills where her and my kids at in hopes that I come back, going into debt while trying to take care of myself too. Went from, having my daughters with me, their whole life, they was always with me, to now here I am renting the room. Man, I went out and hit the streets so hard, y'all. So hard. But it was crazy because my first date, I'm crying on the date, right? Because she not my wife. I'm like, yo, you not even, what am I doing here? She like, what's wrong? I'm like, man, my uncle died. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I just had to make something else up, but it was legit like, yo, you not my wife. Why am I
that
here?
Is funny.
I'm telling you, man. And then from
That's
there,
crazy.
it was like, yo, you got to become enough for you again. And then that's what it started off doing. When I would get sad, go in my little prayer closet, pray. It was some nights I'm like, yo, I'm just going to cry in here, God, like, until you do something different. You know what I'm saying? I started going to therapy myself. My therapist told me something that I hung on to. She said, just because your life isn't going to be what you thought it was going to be, doesn't mean it's going to be different. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It's just going to be different. And so I held on to that, started doing my mirror challenge, when every night I'm looking in the mirror and it's like, are you enough for you today? Yeah, that's the way I live my life. And I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And then I can't even tell you how. It was just one day I just felt a lot better about myself. I was comfortable with the loss. Initially, I was trying to, go over and beyond for her approval still. That was draining. And then I finally got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I don't give a damn what you think about me, what nobody else think about me. That's when I really realized, yo, like, I'm him. I'm patient. I'm kind. I'm an honorable man. I admitted my wrongdoings. Can't nobody put me on a stake no more. It was like one day as I kept building, it was like, okay, something just clicked. And I was just different in the way my peace and everything just started moving. It was just different. I can't pinpoint the exact day when it happened. I just know I stopped running away. I stopped going to the clubs. I stopped dealing with the different women. And bit by bit, I became enough, for me. But it's levels to healing too. You know what I'm saying? So like, once I got married again, I started to see, okay, you ain't fully over everything. Like, you healed as far as you could be as an individual man, but now to have to open back up and be vulnerable with somebody else, that's a whole nother level of healing that I had to go through too.
Yo, and that's a great point, because I think you can prepare yourself to be in the next relationship to the best of your ability, but you don't realize what's unhealed until you cross that bridge again with a new person.
Facts.
So yeah, that's a very valid point. It's what was the quote? the most difficult.
Shout out to Ben. I see you in the chat.
Yeah, the most difficult relationship is the healthy one after the toxic one or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
So yeah, that's a real.
It was because with me and my first wife, she wanted me to leave for like a year and a half, 2 years. And I'm like, yo, I'm not leaving my family. Like, you could go. And then her thing was, well, I can't afford to leave. And
Wait. Your first wife wanted you to leave who?
Her. She wanted me to leave. She's like, yo, I don't want to be with you. You need to move out and leave. And I'm like, no, I'm not leaving my family like that. I'm not going to be that man that walks out on his family. You could go. But then after a while, it's like, all right, bump it. I'm a dip. So when I got married again, my mindset was, I will never beg a woman to stay with me ever again. So when me and my wife got into it, she wasn't even saying she was leaving. She was like, yo, I'm going to pack a bag. I think I'm going to go stay with my parents for a weekend, go to Arizona. And I'm like, yo, if you go to Arizona, don't come back, yo. And it's like, where did that come from? That abandonment, all of that other stuff. And it's like, yo, it's levels to it. Like Chief was saying, it's only a certain amount of healing you could do alone until you got somebody who could touch some of those old wounds. And then you got to still go through that process and be able to talk about that. So
the question was asked, fellas. My two boys and me says, do you think it's true
that's the answer.
that men get under one to get over the other?
Absolutely.
But it doesn't really help.
Well, it don't work.
Exactly. It don't work.
It don't really help.
In theory, it makes perfect sense. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It makes perfect sense. But then you end up crying on a date. You know what I'm saying?
Crying, yo. I'm like, damn, what's wrong with
Sensitive
you,
ass.
sensitive.
That's funny as hell. So I know somebody gonna get at me. Reese probably talking junk in the chat right now, talking about why Chief ain't answer the question because she like y'all do all the talking.
Yeah,
so
tell the world about your heartbreak that we all had to go through.
Which one? What are you talking about?
The one.
long time ago. That shit took. That was before I knew what emotion was. Never mind emotional intelligence. Like, it was a long time ago. Had me fucked up. My first love was rough on me, Mr. White. It was bad on me. But I think in my
record, when I met her, I didn't trust her. Just for the record, like when I first met her, I'm like, she might be in these streets. I don't know. You know,
yeah. She did me dirty. Well, shout out to her though, because she started my poetry career. Word. So
that's
word. She started my poetry career, but nevertheless, the first thing I do is definitely self-reflect. I got to sit back and like, I've learned via the heartbreak, like, to reflect, good, bad, or indifferent. Like whenever things go down now, like I'm always like, how could I have made that better? What could I have done differently? You know what I'm saying? To really capitalize on the moment. So I look back at that. Poetry has been a major outlet, but I also think that's in having this, in learning in this conversation, poetry is probably a way for me to mask it more than deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, this is just me again, knowing you. Have you let anyone in to the degree that you once did from the first relationship heartbreak?
Long time ago?
Mm-hmm.
No, he had to think about it. The answer is
no, because I remember, because it was like a significant feeling. Like I remember like my play first love. And then when I actually like really fell, like it shit felt different. Shit was like a completely different feeling. So I can't say that I've had that feeling again, but I did allow someone's. That's tough. That's tough because my last relationship was you know what I'm saying, like with like serious commitment was with MJ's mom, and 3 months into, but 3 months into that, my brother gets murdered. So
I know,
you know what I'm saying? So that ain't it, I don't know how to let nobody in at that point. You know what I'm saying? So
I knew obviously that, but I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
But
so
I don't believe that relationship specifically would be a good measuring stick because there was so many external factors. You know what I'm saying? Like with Peanut,
right.
that. Like, I'm just curious, man, because I'm playing in my mind, like, because this is fun. So, how long are we going? I'm gonna tell the story anyway. It doesn't matter how long we're going, but so people, we do a annual Poconos trip. It's like literally like 19 of us, and I don't know if you noticed, Chief, but Mac and V backed out. They got some prior commitments.
Okay.
So now it's more space available, and everybody's like, "Is Chief dating anybody?" And I'm like, I mean, no one he wants to bring to the Poconos, to my understanding, but I can ask him. But I say all that to say, I'm thinking back, and I'm like, I wonder. I'm just thinking back to the people, and I'm like, I wonder if he ever let them in. And not to say that it's because of that relationship, but I'm just curious. Like I don't know.
I mean, I think I've cultivated like some real meaningful relationships. Like people are still very near and dear to my heart, but I don't think. No, it's plain and simple. No, I don't think I've literally like put the wall down and been like, yeah, here I am, here we go. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. Okay. And that I can say that
vulnerability, sir.
Nah, I don't believe that. But I do believe I'm ready though. Anybody want to go to Poconos with me? What's happening?
No. Those pull up. This trip, I think this might be our 9th or 10th year, something like that. So Ben just I gotta turn these comments off because I'm reading all of them. So Ben just commented, he's scared to do so, and I know, and I'm not going to tell the story.
Shout out to Mary Berry. What's happening?
I'm not going to tell the story, but Ben is going through a situation where he's not back on the market. You know what I'm saying? And he said he's scared to do so. And I don't. How did you, Adrian? How did you get to the place where you were ready to receive? What Uncle Tommy, or nephew Tommy, ready to love? How did you get to a place where you was ready to love again?
He cried on the first day and opened up the vulnerability spot right there. They knew
he did her. I think for me, yo, you're hilarious. But no, I think for me, it took something different, man. Like, because I wasn't looking for it. You know what I'm saying? It's like when I met my wife, we was just cool, but it took her to like the way she started loving me. And then I tried to push her away, like straight jab, like, yo, I was at a strip club. I'm like, yo, I be trying to believe in God, babe. I'm falling short. I'm drunk. I'm leaving the strip club. You need somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I'm not him.
I'm not him. Wow.
I'm not him. I said, I be trying. I fall short. I'm not him. She said, listen, that's between you and God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love you. I support you. If you don't want me to talk to me, cool. That's up to you. But all of that other stuff, that's between you and God. I just enjoy having conversations with you. That shit hit so different, yo. Like, to just fully be accepted. Because a lot of times we'll do self-sabotage.
That's exactly what you're doing.
Me, right? Yeah. Exactly what I was telling on myself.
Mm-hmm. Like, yo, like, I'm blowing ones in the strip club. I'm drunk. I ain't prayed today. Yeah.
Man, listen. And she was like, yo, that you and God, I'm here. If you don't want to talk to me too, I respect that too. But I enjoy talking to you and I'm here. I shed a tear in the whip. We was on the phone. I shed a little tear in the whip, like, dang, like this nigga really like love a nigga, bro.
And I think so I wanted to say to shout out to Ben. He says, I did that before. I felt bad on the first date. And I think a lot of times women, like we're very hard in the exterior, so they can't really see these emotions that we be going with. We be trying to give ourselves a chance, but we be in our own way sometimes because we haven't processed. You know what I'm saying? And I actually help. I had some, beautiful people in my world who are willing to, give me everything, and I fucked it up. And might even still have an opportunity, but like I feel like because of all the damage that I did, I don't want to reopen. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to rehash the wounds and go back down that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's been really, really holding me back because I got someone I know in particular who would love me to death, just the way I need to be loved. But like, I just feel like the damage is done, and I can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to forgive myself for that. You dig?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's hard to forgive yourself, man.
yeah, so that's where I'm at in that one. But I think just processing like hurt is it's obviously different for everybody, but I think the first phase in it would be, before I even go in that, are there signs, fellas, that you would, that like, if you were to, if a woman was to ask you like, are there signs that I can tell this man is broken or this man has not completely healed, like blatant signs that are out there for the woman in particular? If you're talking to a woman going, yo, you're dating this dude and he sounds broken, or whatever, are there any specific tidbits you can throw out there that kind of help them assess the person they're with?
Well, before we give a general answer, I would say we have to ask questions, man. Like you got to ask questions to understand, because you can at least get the picture can be painted. Now, you may not know exactly how that person's feeling or whatever the case, but you can get understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's and I'm probably not the best person to ask either, because like I've been out the game for a minute, man, and I just feel it's different now. Like I feel it's different now because I feel like 13 years ago or however long it's been since I've been with her, the conversations weren't we weren't as emotionally intelligent as we are now.
So let me ask you this, with that being said though, because you talked about having these conversations and asking questions. If Shorty hit you with these particular, deep and thought-provoking questions off the rip, that's not off-putting. You don't get, most people get taken aback by that when it happens like that. I think the adults now are like asking those, like, how do you process your anger? Like, that's a legit, but
it's a legit question. But I don't even know if I'm gonna speak to you again after tonight. So don't ask me that on the first night.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so a lot of nowadays, because
I'm gonna give a general answer. So I have a really good friend of mine, right? Really good friend of mine. And I was talking to them, and I'm like, yo, who's your best friend? And they was like, well, I ain't really got one. And then we just started going on this rabbit hole. I've known them for 20 plus years. And I'm like, you don't have a best friend? Like, why? And I start to uncover that they don't let anybody in. They don't trust anybody. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, and I'm not saying this is a fact, but in my opinion, you can judge a person by the people they have around them. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that are closest to them, it can tell you a lot. If they have nobody,
even more, no?
That in my opinion is a cause for concern. You know what I'm saying? Like if they don't have a right-hand man or woman, that's a cause for concern. Like why? Why ain't nobody in your corner? You know what I'm saying? Like I think I don't know. That's just one thing like that could tell you something. It won't tell you everything, but it can tell you something. It can tell you that there's a challenge letting somebody into that level. What does that mean for you and them in that relationship? I don't know, but there's something that needs to be potentially unpacked there. But
I would have to agree.
I wouldn't ask these Dr. Phil asked questions on the first date.
I get that, but like sometimes in the beginning there are some of these like uncomfortable, not necessarily uncomfortable, but like really thought-provoking questions that like are asked, and it can kind of be very off-putting when it happens like that. But again, when you have two mature adults who are like serious and intentional about moving forward, sometimes those questions are very pertinent to the conversation. Like the vetting process, it could be quick. Like this is a word. I already know how you handle things. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? But
see, what the downside of that is too, though.
Go ahead,
because we only been married for like a little over a year, and we was only dating for a year. So, but back when I was out there, it's just like an interview. So
it becomes
the interview, you give them whatever they want to hear, get the buzz, and then you out. So they setting themselves up by answering that. You already know what questions coming. What do you do? What's your life plan? How do you? Oh yeah, boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah. So they set themselves up with that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. It becomes transactional. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think there's society, social media, whatever you want to call it. I feel like there's been such a emphasis on love and relationships, and then also women who have kids and want to find their life partner, and women who don't have kids and want to have somebody to find a partner to have kids with, and men who are accomplished and they want to settle down. I feel like this is unwarranted pressure that they put on themselves, and everything becomes a fucking interview. You know what I'm saying? It's like you hear all these great questions on Instagram and then you ask them, but it's like, yo, I'm not even in a position to answer that shit truthfully right now. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even know me well enough to know if I'm answering it truthfully. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, get to know me.
You can answer that right now, Bell, which is the next question, because I talked about other signs that we can help, a woman to identify it. But what about the men? Like, are there signs where we can say, fellas, like if you doing this or if you feel this way, like you still might have some healing to do, bro. You still might be a little bit heartbroken.
We can identify to give to men.
Yeah.
I think one thing is if your cutoff game is just too strong. Like if you just cutting people off for nothing, I be saying, nah, she did this, it's a wrap. I'm like, dang, like why? So I think that could be a sign to, not saying something has to be wrong, but a pause to explore your why, right? Because nobody's perfect, right? When you think about word association, all of these other things, you literally just now getting to know somebody. So off of one bad conversation, now you're automatically just eliminating this person. One bad game, and it can even be a friendship. You know what I'm saying? You cutting them off. One bad thing, and it's not even realistic. So I think that's one area.
Is it not though? Because I think as the more mature we get, the more we realize what we want and what we don't want. And if we see something we don't want, we're not, you know what I'm saying? We don't have to tolerate that.
Nah, man, but you need context, bro. You need context. And if you don't know a person, you don't know where that's coming from. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like society today, they've made this dating, like Adrian said, an interview, right? A 3-step, 4-step process interview, because they have what they're looking to accomplish. So the next person I meet, not the next person, but I want to marry or I want to do something. So I need to meet these people to see if they're good enough to marry. When it's like, no, what if let's just start if they're good enough to be around. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you good enough to yo, Chief, you and I talk, the three of us, me, you, and Oz talk about this shit all the time back in the day. Like, when we were dating, there were women that we would be maybe hooking up with, maybe not, but we would just like to be around them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
especially when you find a cool one that's for sure.
Like, we just want to be around y'all. Like, if we end up hooking up, we do, but it's like, no, I just like you. I just want to be around you. Yeah. And I feel like the criteria and the fucking the checks and balances that people are mentally going all over in their head as they're talking to somebody. And as you said, excluding them because they answer one thing wrong, with not even realizing or understanding if they can even be around this person for multiple days.
Right. And it's crazy because I had that and I fucked it up. But like established that great like that friendship foundation was everything. You know what I'm saying? It was solid. We laughed, we joked, we enjoyed being around each other, and then whatever. But I wanted to address this situation, Mary's comment right here. And I'm just gonna touch on it and leave it alone. But it says men ignore red flags more than women just because they want cheeks. Might be true, but there's way more single moms out here than single dads.
Yo, you starting some shit.
Am I wrong though, Bell? We ignore the red flags. You knew this nigga wasn't shit. You gave him some cheeks and had his baby. Now he ain't around.
So I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. We don't ignore the red flags. And I'm gonna make a general statement, and I'm not saying it's fact. Men can pick up on women's insecurities faster than women can pick up on men's insecurities in most cases.
Hell yeah.
Right?
We masking it anyway.
Right? So all we do is play on those insecurities. Because I I don't care who you are, right? You make 6 figures, you have a master's degree, all that shit. You got some insecurities. We all do.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is I can pick up on them faster than you can pick up on mine. And all I'm going to do is play to those insecurities. And if you let me play to those insecurities, then yeah, I'm going to get some cheeks and I'm going to bounce or I'm going to do whatever. But if you don't let me play to those insecurities, I'm like, oh, okay, she's different. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't run game, if you will, because I know all the right things to say. Like, listen, when I was in my 20s, all I had to tell women is that I have custody of my daughter.
Oh, he's a great man. Such an awesome guy.
That's it. That was followed by I have the most comfortable bed in the tri-state area. Like,
hey, Adrian, Mr. White, I've heard it verbatim, night after night.
and ain't nobody checking for no red flags. You know what I'm saying? But what do I know? She's a single mom. Her baby daddy ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And she lived in the projects and bought the bed that came with the mattress. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
What?
playing on those insecurities. That's all I
Hey,
do.
it is crazy because nigga hit the sixes right off the whip. It would just say 6 feet, 6 pack, 6 figures, and I can take care of my daughter, and I got a comfortable bed.
Like, what we really talking about? So
what we talking about?
So like
that's funny.
Optically, I check all their boxes. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't at the time. I ain't shit. Like I know exactly what I'm doing.
What?
I'm playing on your insecurities.
What?
Like you
Listen,
you may be a big deal, but the minute I smell blood, I'm like, oh no, I got you.
Yeah,
You know
but back then it was easy. We fresh out of college, you know what I mean? Like, oh, by the way, I got 2 degrees. You know what I'm saying? From you know, and that just it's an easy sell at that point. And, like when the blood is in the water, sharks is coming.
Man, fish with dynamite, man.
Anywho,
my general statement is I don't believe we ignore them. I think we deal with them. And deal with is subjective. I just told you how I dealt with them. Somebody else may deal with them a different way. They may keep them around to serve a purpose or whatever, right? I don't know, but I'm just telling you how I dealt with them.
No doubt, Mr. White. So to your point, are there any signs we can tell the men to look out for? Or maybe the people in his life just to look out for, like he could be hurting, like, because it don't have to be a relationship type thing. Maybe the cousin can be like, yo, my man, like you doing this, like you sure you healed?
Yeah, I would say isolation. If you see him isolating, or if you see him just running through a lot of women quickly too fast, trying to fall in love too fast. You know, you got them niggas out there, she the one. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
She the one, she my too, though.
And then 2 weeks later, it's somebody else, that they're the one. But I just think the main thing is ask questions, y'all. Take the time to check in with your friends, ask questions, and try to be aware. We said, what school y'all go to?
That's Joe. Yo, Joe, I really want to get you up here one day and chop it up with the fellas, man. I really think you could benefit from some combo with us, man. I've I ain't gonna put it out there now, but I think we should definitely have a conversation, bro, for sure. Yo, I thought this was a pretty good conversation, but I wanted to one last question before we wrap this up. What advice would you have for men who are able to recognize they're dealing with hurt? What advice would you give them to help them process through it?
Get a therapist.
I would say find somebody to talk to about it, right? Don't isolate yourself. I think that's one of the worst things we could do is isolate ourselves and keep it in, right? So it's okay for you to be sad. It's okay for you to not know what the next thing is, to do. It's okay for you to not know, what to do in those situations, right? So not only have your circle, if you need to talk to a professional, but write about it, sit in it. Don't try to, and don't turn to the temporary vices, man. Something temporary if you got to keep doing it or start to increase it. So don't start going to the club. Now you clubbing all the time. Now you drinking every day. Now you getting high every day. Like, stop running to temporary vices and just go through your process, man. Go through your process, use your supports, and just take it a day at a time. It'll save you so much resources, pain, hurt. Because one thing I learned is you're gonna have to go through it eventually anyway. So it's better to go through it now and get it out the way versus to start attaching yourself to more people, making more bad decisions and things that you're gonna have to deal with that could possibly end up like me, freaking healing through my ex-wife, messed around and had a baby. This 18 plus years I got all because I didn't want to go through the process. You know what I'm saying? So take the time to go through the process. It's not going to be easy. I'm telling you now, I can't tell you the day in which it's all going to click, but it will click for you.
Yeah, I think for me, if I'm giving any advice on how to process through the hurt, I think one is just being able to acknowledge that you going through something instead of hiding it. Be like, yo, like I don't, I'm hurting right now, and then assess your role in the hurt, if any, you know what I'm saying, and see how you can help yourself be better and apply those lessons to your next situation, relationship, loss, whatever the case may be, and see how you can, do better for yourself in that regard. But in addition to all of that, like the gentleman was saying, tap into your people, tap into a therapist, get it out, whether it be talking to somebody, writing it down, journaling. Some people, we all got our ways, but I think, they'll resort to the gym, the punching bag and whatnot. Yeah, that's cool. It's great for the moment, but you still ain't talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be. So for me, like, for example, I'm a writer, so I put it on the page. But what happened is I got when I'm dealing with certain things, like I was going through some situations with my kids' mothers, and it was getting the best of me. And I felt like I didn't want to write a poem about it because I felt like I would be vilifying or violating them. But in actuality, Prentice was like, yo, Chief, like you could, like, everything ain't for the stage. And I'm like, oh shit, like you're right. Like I could still journal. You know what I'm saying? So I put it all in a book and just got it out of me. And that was like a big sigh of relief. And processing with the homies and whatnot. But like, get it out in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and communication. Like, get it out in words, not through via the punching bag or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I really dug this conversation, fellas. I thought it was a bunch of gems being thrown in here. I think the people rock with it. Y'all let us know in the comments what you thought or whatever. If you still here, y'all do me a favor, hit the like button one time for the one time. And those, I guess, as my man Hant would say, the likes help the channel the most. So throw some likes up in there. Subscribe to the channel. We need to get our subscribers up and whatnot. Yeah, no doubt. That was for your shorty though, Mia. Give it to the shorty, man. But we're gonna close this as we always do, man. Bellhead, I think I'm gonna let you go first. Give us your final thoughts or takeaways from the episode.
I thought this was good, man. I like the different directions that we went. And I think it was a different approach to heartbreak for men, as we said originally. Like I saw the treatment at no point that I think we were going to talk about if a man could potentially break your heart, and I think that is uncharted territory, and even saying it out loud kind of felt weird for me just now. So that's definitely something that's worth exploring, because, and it doesn't have to be your father. I think there's friendships that you can experience heartbreak from, right? And if I'm being honest, that's why a lot of us don't trust, because we don't want to experience that from somebody we trust. So it's just easier for us not to trust. And from like a peer-to-peer relationship, and then we find ourselves in a position where it's like, okay, I can be vulnerable with her, right? Because she's not a threat. And then we could then find ourselves in the same situation. But no matter what the situation is, the outcome is all that matters. It's like how you move forward. And that's something that I don't believe any of us has clearly defined. I think we find our way through it and we get through it, but I don't believe that we all have a blueprint, you know, and I hope this conversation can help people lead down their path of healing. And it's going to be different for everybody, you know, the duration, the experience, all of that. But I think if I have one ask is that these conversations can help just get you closer to whatever it is you need. You know, that's my final thought.
That's what's up. Mr. White, final thoughts.
Final thought. Healing is uncharted territory. You know, it's uncharted territory for a lot of us, but go forth. It'll be worth it. Take the time to prioritize you, getting to know yourself. And I would start with your first relationships, you know, mom, dad, looking at all of those things. Continue to work on using your support system. If you need to get a therapist, coach, get you some counseling, definitely do those things. For all of those men who are hurting, it's a journey to forgive yourself, right? It's something we not taught how to do, but it starts with your perception of the things that you did. So I will tell y'all, you know, you're not your mistakes. You are worth a second chance. You know what I'm saying? So continue to grind. And last but not least, just because your life isn't going to be what you thought it was going to be, don't mean it's going to be worse. It's just going to be different.
I can respect that. For me, I think the first step, they say the first step to rehab is admitting you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think first thing first is to sit back and go, damn, I'm actually hurt. I'm hurting. Like, and once you acknowledge that, you can then begin to devise steps to move forward in that. However you want to process that is on you. But I think as men, the first thing we do is tell us is try to convince ourselves of what we are not when we're actually sitting right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So do that first, assess it, acknowledge it, and then begin to address it. So those are my final thoughts for the episode. I don't remember how to get back to the joint. There we go. So with that being said, y'all,
live show this Tuesday, New Britain, Connecticut. Pull up.
Yeah. Shout out to Miss Layla, to you. She says she appreciated the conversation, learned a lot by just listening. Thank you. Thank you for tapping in with us. If you're still here, y'all throw some likes and hit the like button one time for the one time. This Tuesday, January 9th, 8 p.m. in New Britain, Connecticut, we are doing a live audience recording of the podcast. Prentice is flying over from Oakland. We'll all be in the spot and having some more conversations to help us grow and be better. So if you're interested in coming to the live recording, hit us up at live@abmnt.com. Request your tickets. It's only a limited amount of tickets. So, hit us up now if you want to come in and join the party with us. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'm sure the next one will be, just as good, if not better. We got a website, y'all, abmnt.com. Go cop some merch. We got some merch out and whatnot. We also have a voice line for those you who might, be struggling in a moment. Hit us up at the voice line. The number is 860-410-6160. I got to put that in a banner. I forgot to do that. But it's 860-410-6160. We got we get text messages there too. So, shoot us with a text message or call. It rings to mine, Prentice, and Bell's phone. So it's just a matter of which one of us will answer. We do answer if we catch it. And we'll go from there. Any last remarks, Bob? I feel like I'm, want to make sure I got everything.
I think you did. I think you covered everything. I'm tired, man. I've been on call since 7:30. So.
No doubt. So sorry to keep y'all up all night, but I thought the conversation was powerful, man. So per usual, man, do us all a favor and hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.